Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Hello and welcome to another episode of In the Trenches with Gang Green. I'm your host, Bubbs. Today is Tuesday, July 22nd. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far today. This is episode 575 of the In the Trenches with Gang Green podcast. I thank you, as always, for joining me. For those tuning in on YouTube, make sure to please like and subscribe. Of course, appreciate all of those tuning in on all the different audio podcast platforms. And today, the New York Jets reported to training camp, and tomorrow will be the first training camp practice of 2025. I am fired up, and you've got to be fired up as well if you're a New York Jet fan. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the biggest takeaways from report day. Garrett Wilson spoke to the media. Sauce Gardner spoke to the media. So those two spoke for the first time since getting their new contract extension. Quinnen Williams also met the media, and I wanted to discuss some takeaways from his press conference as well. So we'll dive into all of that here today on the podcast. We'll start with Garrett Wilson here. He met the media first time, of course, since the new contract extension. Here he was just on the extension, his thoughts on all of that. Here is Garrett.
I mean, it meant a lot. It's something that we have been working on for a little bit. We both had discussed how we wanted to go about it. On my end, it was, let things happen, handle your business here, and let's just let it happen. And on their end, it was we're going to be working behind the scenes to get it done. So having them follow through on that, it means a lot to me. Not to mention, I've been here for 3 years. We haven't won many games. I haven't had the season that I had hoped, and for them to still come in here and believe in me and say, hey, we think you can be a part of, the successful side of this thing for years to come is awesome. So I'm ecstatic, man, for real.
So that's Garrett on his initial takeaways, his initial thoughts on, of course, getting the contract extension, and just listening to him there. And I'll play another clip here in a second as well. That's just one of those type of guys, always about the team, not always about himself. That's the type of player that you extend long-term, that you keep around long-term. Not only, of course, what he brings on the field, right? 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons for in his opinion, still not up to his level of where he think he can get to. And I think most Jet fans do expect and can see another level with Garrett Wilson, with better offensive coordinator, an offense, just a better designed offense where it's focused on him, which Tanner Engstrand has mentioned many times that is going to be the case. And of course, more consistent, competent quarterback play, which of course he hasn't had. Through all of that, though, to want to stay here and to want to be a Jet long-term, of course, the Jet side of things, obviously smart by Glenn and Muji to keep him here long-term. And I'll even just throw this out here as well. He mentioned how on his side, handling his business, and they'll work out the rest, and both sides will negotiate. And I think that's also something else to know, right? He was also there for minicamp. He was there for OTAs. Focus on the football aspect, agents, the Jets, that will all get figured out with the contract. And eventually, of course, it did. Garrett also talked about, this was one of the bigger takeaways, the importance of playing meaningful football in December and January.
Playing meaningful football. I feel like I've said that a few times this offseason because, that's the question I've been getting asked, right? And that's, you said the next thing. That's the thing, the only thing. I feel like I haven't done anything, right? Let's play meaningful football. That's all. Just play in December and January when it matters, when you're playing for something, and go out and make plays. Do what you do, but on the highest stage. I feel like that's the next step. All the rest of the stuff will take care of itself if we find ourselves playing meaningful football in December and January.
He's spot on. Meaningful football, December, January. That's what you want to hear out of one of your star young players. That's what Jet fans want to hear, and that's what we need. I mean, this team's year in and year out, right? Out of the playoff picture, talking about the draft in October. The least this team can do is be a competitive football team, play meaningful games in December, break this playoff drought, and have a consistent winning culture. Garrett's a big part of that, and he makes that clear that that's the next step where this team's got to get to. So those were the two big takeaways from Garrett Wilson's press conference this afternoon in Florham Park 1 Jets Drive. Sauce also met the media. Here was his thoughts on the extension and just overall his pursuit on being a great and the best cornerback in the NFL.
I want to be the best. Like, that's not just this season, but that's like in general, like my legacy that I want to leave. I want to win games, and I think we have the players, the coaches, and everything that it takes to win games and to win a lot of games. So I'm just looking forward to that. That's my main thing. I know my individual accolades, those are going to come with us winning games, so because I know like our coaches are putting us in position and they're going to put me in position to make plays. So individually, like, that's not something that I'm worried about. I just know us winning games. Everything else is going to come.
I think this is a really good time here to also bring this up as well. And I kind of just mentioned this with Garrett, but add on to the Sauce point as well. Just two team-oriented players, right? Sauce talking about winning games. Garrett talking about playing meaningful games in December and January. That's, again, the players you want to build around, and a big reason why these two players are here long-term, locked up for the next 6 seasons as these franchise cornerstones in two pivotal spots for this team on the offense and defensive side of the football. And that's the approach you want to hear these guys take, and everything they speak on is all about the team. And that's all good to see, and that's all helpful to the culture, and that's all things that Glenn continues to preach and things that hopefully continue to kind of get into with this locker room, that team-first mentality. Sauce also talked a little bit about some of the changes and improvements that he made on the offseason, what he felt was a very successful offseason as he begins training camp tomorrow.
Everything, like getting bigger, stronger, faster, footwork, just everything, locating the ball better, like all the base fundamentals. Like, I just prided myself on all of those things. It wasn't like one specific thing. I was just trying to do a few things right, like hundreds of thousands of times, so I can't get them wrong, so I feel like that's going to show in training camp, and I feel like it's going to show throughout the season, and, looking forward to it.
So that was Sauce and some of the adjustments he made on the offseason. Some other things from Sauce that I thought were good enough or interesting enough to bring up. Mention some of the things that he's looking forward to this season under Aaron Glenn, this new look defense, Steve Wilkes, all that good stuff. Following the top receivers, blitzing, and also playing a little bit in the slot. And I mentioned this tons of times, and I've said it with some other players as well. Sauce is one of these players that I think can benefit the most from this new coaching staff, right? There's a couple. Sauce, one of them. I'd even throw Brees out there. There's a few. Even throw Michael Carter out there in the secondary, just with the high rate of man that the Jets could run this year. Michael Carter, if he's healthy, which is the biggest thing, his man coverage is one of the best from a slot perspective. But the man coverage, following the number one, all those things Sauce benefits with. And I think part of the Sauce down year last year was the coaching, the locker room, and all that stuff kind of just infiltrated the team. And he was sort of a victim of that as well. And I think right coaching, Glenn played corner. It fits really well for Sauce in terms of the scheme, and what Sauce does well is what the Jets are going to do. And also just some of those outside factors as well play a role that I think are important for Sauce. And blitzing too, not just Sauce, but this defense as a whole. You're going to see a lot more blitzing, not something we saw under Saleh and, of course, shortly under Ulbrich. Not something that this New York Jets team did a lot of. You're going to see that. You're going to see times Steve Wilkes send the kitchen sink and get pressure that way. One other thing Sauce mentioned, he actually waited on his contract announcement because Garrett Wilson, of course, got his the day before. He wanted Garrett to get that attention for a day, so he pushed it back one day. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, Quinnen Williams also met the media, and he revealed his expectations and his thoughts on what this Jets team is going to be under Aaron Glenn.
Going off what I feel from OTAs and things like that, expectation is to be disciplined, to play hard, to work hard, and also to be tough and to do the things we can do on the field and off the field to execute. I think the number one thing is like playing smart football and executing to the highest ability that we talked about in OTAs a lot. So I think it's super high expectation for this team, for this coaching staff, and for this organization, and what we want to achieve and where we want to go. So.
Discipline, focus, competitiveness, all those different things are clear-cut expectations for this team under Glenn Quinnen. Of course, they're discussing that. And I think things that you hopefully look forward to. Accountability, another thing as well from this coaching staff that you hope to see. But, yeah, I mean, what Quinnen just rattled off is really what this coaching staff has talked about. Glenn specifically has talked about, wanting to be competitive, physicality, discipline, all of those different things, nastiness, they all kind of fit under that same umbrella. And that is a complete opposite from where this team has been and specifically was a year ago, right? A very soft group, not embodying, not discipline at all, lack of account, all that stuff. We all know, we don't have to rehash it all. So that was Quinnen on some of those expectations. I also thought this was another interesting clip here that I wanted to play. This was Quinnen on the Parcells Glenn comparison and what he's seen so far.
I've never been around Bill Parcells. I know I get a lot of the stories and stuff since I've been here. So to see a guy to kind of exemplify all the stories that I've heard about Bill Parcells is kind of like, oh, I see what people was talking about when it come down to the things that Bill Parcells did and how he acted and how he conducted himself and the things that he did to lead a team to success. So, and Coach Glenn got every single aspect of what I went through with Coach Saban and the stories I hear about Bill.
So that was Quinnen I thought that was an interesting clip I wanted to play on the Parcells Glenn comparison. Of course, Glenn coming from the Parcells tree. No, this is not me sitting here saying Aaron Glenn is the next Bill Parcells, but a lot of what Parcells did during his career, Glenn, of course, playing under him, of course, with the Jets. I think you're going to see Glenn try and implement some of that in that kind of blue-collar type of mindset. So wanted to throw that out there as well. Couple other notes here before we close things out. Wanted a quicker episode here, just a little update from report day before the real stuff begins tomorrow when they hit the field for day number 1. New locker room for the New York Jets. That was awesome to see, and I'm not going to sit here and say the Jets, they're winning 13 games now. They got a new locker room, but it is little things like that that could help, and it is little things like that that are important. The New York Jets last year in the NFLPA report card got crushed with the locker room and some other things as well. So it is nice to see Woody Johnson, and yes, I'm throwing a little bit of credit there. It is nice to see them at least realizing that they had to make some changes, had to make some adjustments. So that was pretty cool to see the new locker room. And again, not saying they're going to win 12 games, but something to throw out there. This new regime clearly trying to change some of these things. And that's it. That's report day. Tomorrow, day number 1. Cannot wait. So stay tuned. A lot more content coming your way. As you all know, tomorrow morning we'll have second installment of our player preview series up. So stay tuned for that. That'll drop tomorrow morning. And then shortly after that, because practices are so early, so shortly after that, we will have our first training camp recap, day number 1 out. So stay tuned for that. Tons of content coming your way here. We're just getting started here as the summer kicks off. Appreciate you all so much. Until next time, Jets, Jets, Jets.